Okay, which one of y'all hit that ticket? Dissed his whole crew on a food truck. Citizen vigilante or cold blooded? Our sailors are in distress. The CEO of Flock, is he a stalker?
SassE 5 update, August 15th, 2026.
If you want the highlights of what's happening in the world, but without carrying the full weight of the news, then SassE 5 Update is for you. The stories featured here are news briefs that are based on reporting from credible journalistic sources. I'll give you the facts, the context, and why I think it matters. But the commentary, opinions, and occasional sass, baby, that's all me, 100% mine. SassE 5 is designed to keep you informed, but not replace the original reporting. So if a story really matters to you, dig deeper, read the full coverage, and as always, form your own opinion. The news is real, the sass is mine. Let me find out one of y'all got a rich auntie or uncle in Illinois.
Let's take another look at tonight's winning numbers. Remember, there are multiple ways to win. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you back here on Saturday night.
Earlier this week, a $1 billion ticket hit in the state of Illinois. It was sold at a gas station that's actually on the border of Illinois and Missouri. But now the question is, to annuity or cash payout? The annuity would give you your $1 billion, but spread it out over several years. That cash payout, it would be $450 million paid all in one lump sum. For me, I'm going for my cash payout because we've heard of sweepstakes that have actually gone bankrupt, actually been exhausted while they were still paying out annuities. So what you ain't gonna do is come to me in a few years and say, hey, E, I know we still owe you money, but we ain't got none. Nah, go ahead, give me my money up front and we'll be cool. So the Qatari plane gifted to Donald Trump made him an open target. And when that happened, he decided that the press corps and even some of his cabinet would become sitting ducks. And no, this is not an episode of 24. On July 8th, while traveling in Ankara, Turkey, Secret Service was alerted that there was a high and imminent risk to Donald Trump's life. So therefore, they had to divert him back to Air Force One. But what happened next has blown everyone's mind.
8:24 p.m. local that evening, President Trump boarded the Legacy Air Force One. He turned around, gave a wave to the cameras broadcasting his departure live, and disappeared behind the closed door. Which is when the camera zooms out but doesn't focus on that catering truck. It was parked on the other side of the plane, near another catering truck at the level of the doors, to let food in or sneak the president out. And 6 minutes later, at 8:30 p.m. local, the truck that usually caters to the president now secretly carrying him. It backs up away from Air Force One toward another U.S. government plane parked behind unbeknownst to the press corps.
Now, see, that's one no-fly list they can put me on because, excuse me, Mr. President, I'm not your crash dummy. On Friday, as part of a plea deal, Luigi Mangione pled guilty to the death of Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO that he stalked and gunned down in 2024. Regarded by some as a citizen vigilante, as part of his plea, Mangione admitted that he killed Thompson and said he did so out of frustration due to back pain that he suffered for many years and his claims being denied by his health insurance carrier. It's expected that Mangione will receive life in prison as his sentence on the federal charges for the killing of Thompson. And many legal experts believe that this plea deal was his attempt to avoid trial in New York State, where he faces similar charges. Now, the real question I have, at only 27 years old, what's the root of his bad problems that made this little boy pop off? In November of 2025, the USS Abraham Lincoln left San Diego carrying approximately 5,000 sailors and Marines for a deployment that should have returned them home back in May of 2026. However, because the carrier is a support in U.S. military operations against Iran, its deployment has now extended twice what it was initially planned for. There are now unconfirmed reports that sailors are jumping overboard out of frustration for poor conditions on the ship. While both Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump have denied that conditions are as bad as being reported, many families of those sailors and Marines are very concerned. Politics aside, a country as wealthy as the United States should not be asking our military members to ration their showers to 2 a week and eat corn dogs and peanut butter sandwiches while in a war zone. So Flock CEO and co-founder Garrett Langley is having to apologize and walk back statements where he accused those who are against Flock cameras as being terroristic groups. So apparently, Garrett doesn't like the fact that groups have organized to say, we don't want to be surveilled 24 hours a day, nor do we want police officers to use the cameras for their personal use to stalk people. And as the criticism got louder, Langley had to not only apologize, he had to admit that there were police officers and police agencies that are misusing the technology in ways it was never intended. Not only was his press tour to apologize for his out of touch statements, it was also to give him an opportunity to tout all the wonderful virtues of flock cameras as a device and resource for police agencies around the country. He also talked about the guardrails that they're now putting in place to make sure that the average everyday citizen's rights are still protected. After watching his little interviews, all I got was tech bro equals creepy bro.
And that is your SassE 5 update. What happened, why it matters, and what I think.